Hello and welcome to this video of project scope management. What are you going to do for your customer? What does your customer want? You make something and give it to your customer and he's going to pay you and you make money. But as a project manager, you need to be very careful on how you're going to manage this scope. Let's say a customer gives you a request to make a website. Okay, a customer's website. How's it going to be? He would say, the first question to ask is, why do you need the website for? You will need the website for, he would say, I need it to kind of manage my end users. You are engaging with people. The platform should have login, password. Then after that, he would say, I need people to come and comment. And then after that, he would say okay, I need a like button. And then I want this to be on let's say a community page. So let's say this is a very short description of a small engaging website for a customer. Now you want to get started on the project. You go and collect this list of requirements, what I just mentioned. You have your list of requirements ready in front of you, and now you start working on the project. What should you do? The first question that you need to ask yourself is, what is the scope of this project? There are two parts to this. As a project manager, you should know what is the project scope and what is the product scope. Product scope is that community page, what all he wants to have over there. Project scope is what you will do to make that community page. Get this right. For your PMP examination, you should know the difference between a project scope and a product scope. Project scope is what you will do. Like for example, you will have a project plan, you will execute the project, you will have list of things to be done, you will have meetings, you will have a development plan, you will have all these things, right? You will have the environment set up ready to do the delivery. All these things are a part of your project scope. Product scope will be like, how should the website look? What are the creatives they want? How many fields they need? Okay, so the product scope is a bigger part and a project scope is a subset of it. Getting it? One product can have multiple projects. So remember like that. A big product can have multiple projects. So project scope is a part of product scope. Remember? So what you do to get to things to be done is a project scope. And what are the features? Let's say for example, they are making a car. So the car door, okay, it needs to have a handle like this, or pulling out, or a button, or a fingerprint. All these are requirements for the door. Or they want the door to open up, or they want the door to kind of slide on. So all these are the features of the product. What work you will do to get those features is called as the project scope. The features of the product is a product scope. Understood? Fine. As a PM, be clear of this. Okay? Because when more scope starts coming into it, that's the time you have a problem, right? People start giving more work. So they agreed for the knob to be like this in the car, and then they thought, no, we want it to be pulled out. Right? This is a change in requirement. So you should know what are the product features. Okay? First thing. Next. So you should know what is in the scope of the project, what is outside the scope of the project. If you don't know this, it will become a lot of problem to you. Okay? Next, we spoke about the project scope, things you're going to do to execute the project. Product scope is the features of the product, right? Next, as a project manager, you should be able to define the boundaries of the scope. This is called as controlling the scope, right? Then, the customer should be happy when he gets the product at the end. Validate scope. Right? Then, once you start defining the boundaries of the product, okay, the scope of the work, you will start collecting the requirements. What kind of door, what kind of knob, what kind of buttons, all these are requirements. Right? Then, you will validate the scope. When the customer comes and says, yes, good, what you have done is good, I'm happy, you're validating the scope. To do all this, you will make a plan. That is called a scope management plan. Getting it? I'm telling it to you as and how we do things. From PMBOK, step by step it would be, first you will make scope management plan. From the process called plan scope management. Then you will define the scope. Then you will collect requirements. Give me more details. Then after that you will go and create a work breakdown structure. Okay, in this piece what all is needed? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Okay, somebody is working on the knob, somebody is working on the button, somebody is working on the door, somebody is working on the hinges. Right? These things. Or if you take the website example, you will come with features like, okay, fine, we want this comment section to be only so much width, we want the font size to be only so much, we want the color of the font to be like this, we want the size of the font to be like this, we want a like button. Okay, all these are features which has been agreed initially. We call it as user stories. Okay, then you should be able to kind of define the boundaries. You should know what is in scope, what is outside the scope, and then you should be able to manage changes. Now let's say in your website they asked you to make a like button. Somehow they got inspired and customer comes and says, I want a heart button also. Now this was not agreed initially. If you do this, it's called scope creep. If you do this on your own and give it to the customer, it's called as gold plating. If the customer pushes you to do it without kind of telling you to be done, it's called as scope creep. Okay, remember the difference. When you make a change from your own, just to impress the customer, it's called as gold plating. When the customer comes and says, do it, it was not agreed initially, and you go and do it, it's called scope creep. Okay, any new change that has to be done, which is not a part of the initial scope baseline, should be done with change request. So you should manage these scope changes on a project. This is also very important work for a project manager. Okay, day in and day out, a lot of requests comes in, right? Sometimes the UI they want to change it. It may be small changes, okay, but those kind of bubble up like a snowball effect. In the end, you lose a lot of time. Okay, remember this, how to manage this. Then you should keep your stakeholders very happy. Okay, when you manage scope project, the customer should be happy, and at the end result, what is getting? Is he happy? Is he getting all these features? Is it having good quality? Or is it given on time? Or is he realizing value from it? Is the customer benefit from it? Right? At the end user was given in the right time. So all this is very important. Okay, these are all part of your scope management. When you, as a project manager, work on this, and this is very important, right? The entire work that you're going to deliver to the customer, he has to be satisfied, right? So those are the things that scope PM should do, right? Lastly, before I kind of close this and then take another video on detail of all the different person PMP management, what are the different scope issues that we face? A lot of issues we face in scope, right? Like for example, last minute changes, UI is not ready. Like there was one of the projects working wherein the customer wanted to have a particular color for the strength of the password, but they themselves were not ready with those colors. The UI and UX was not ready with that, and it's coming very late, and you're already in the middle of the sprint. It gives a lot of problem, right? Then due to not clarity, having no clarity, there's no BA who's explaining things. The requirements are going for a toss. Every time you go into this, no, it has to be changed like this. So get the story done, get an acceptance criteria ready, right? So those issues come in, and then what happens eventually? The entire project gets stretched. This is going to impact your timelines. Okay, fine. This is what I wanted to talk to you about project scope management at a high level. Things like what is there in the project, what is not there in the project, what is project scope, what is product scope. Then how do you keep your stakeholders happy? When do you use a change request? Then what are the different processes in project scope management, starting from plan scope management, define scope, then create work breakdown structure, right? And create the scope baseline. Then you validate the scope with the customer and you control the scope, right? So these are the things that we do in project scope management. In my future videos, I'll give you more details to understand these processes one by one. That is helpful for you in a PMP examination, what things you have to remember, and your day-to-day project management. All in all, this video will help you both for a PMP examination directly, or will hit on the nail on the head and go directly to PMP exam concepts tested, and then how you can manage your project day to day and be a better project manager. Thank you for watching my video. This is Aram Faraz. Have a nice day. Bye bye.